Hey everybody, happy holidays and happy new year. It is now 2025. I'm Ethan. We're going to go ahead and start. Cameron is having some
Um,
issues hearing.
Audio setting? I have no idea. I mean,
Yes,
I don't know. I
Cameron
mean,
is
I don't know
having,
much about Discord.
yeah,
I'd
he's
love to do
having,
the settings, and I couldn't find much. I tried the self test, and it tested fine, but I was able to
okay.
speak and hear just fine.
Cameron, if you wouldn't mind, can you just work on it behind the scenes and I'll continue the AMA? Crypto Antiquity, if you could type that out for him, that would be awesome.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, thank you, man. I
Um,
appreciate it. Um, so I hope everybody is doing well. I do have some news to break to all of you guys. So as we know for quite some
You mean in the
time,
settings menu?
okay,
oh,
yeah, probably, yeah, this
oh,
this is kind of disruptive.
I'll take a look.
All right, Cameron, in the meantime, can you mute your microphone until you can hear me and then you can talk freely? All right, fantastic. All right. So we've known for quite some time, and I'm going to just yeah, make sure that everything's adjusted correctly on my side here. Okay, yeah. Um, that you guys are seeing everything. We've known for quite some time that the power upgrades have been frozen in the agricultural areas that have the excellent power rate. And I've just learned that the previous company, which was called AADC, which stands for Align Distribution Company, they have now been bought by a bigger conglomerate called TAQA. I have no idea what it stands for, guys. But what I do know is that it is a part of Transco, which is one of the largest suppliers of power in the Emirates. And apparently, they own the Abu Dhabi Distribution Company and now the Align Distribution Company. And so, and the Abu Dhabi Energy Services. And so, what does this mean? What this means is I'm hearing that new power contracts are being issued. They're being issued at a slightly higher rate. Instead of 4.5 fills, they're being issued at 6 fills. But I'm hopefully optimistic that maybe this whole reason why the power upgrade process and all of this stuff was frozen was because of this big acquisition that the Align Distribution Company, AADC, was being acquired by TAQA. And so, as a part of that acquisition, they just kind of froze everything and waited until, after the acquisition and the new rules, new policies, and all the new things are in place. And now they're starting to initiate power upgrades again. I'm hopeful, double cross hopeful. If that was the issue that's been holding us back, then this is great news because that means that the power upgrades that I've had locked in queue for almost a year now. We take Cobra X, for example, been almost a year. And then I've got others that are locked in queue um, for quite some time as well, and not as long as the Cobra X one. But if these power upgrades start happening, that would be fantastic news, not only for the Monopoly project, but for many other people who are desperate to get power and plug in. In other news, and Ahmad has made a great contact. There's a gentleman who's a local. His name is Youssef. He and I have actually become really good friends. He's a super cool local. He's actually, well, I can't say too much about him because you can't talk much about it, the locals, but he's in a person that is in authority and he likes to do things like super the right way. And he has found a villa with 500 kVA that we can rent out and we can use that power. We are investigating in getting that villa. That's not a solution for some of my bigger clients who need bigger amounts of power, but it would be a perfect solution for Monopoly and some other smaller projects that I've got going on. So what Yusuf plans to do is when I rent out these villas or whatever, I can't get the local power costs. right? I'm being charged some sort of expat rate, which is it's not terrible, but it's not good to mine with at all. And Youssef said that he will put his name on the contract on the rental agreement so that the power cost can be put in his name. And then he would get the Emirati rate, which is 7.5 fils, breaks down to roughly 2 cents a kilowatt hour. So very, very good power rate to mine with. So we do have some positive things. We're moving in some positive directions. How long will this take? Well, to give an example, TAQA did the acquisition and have frozen power upgrades for a year. So I have no idea how fast things will move from there. Now, I can only imagine that with things being backlogged for a year, there's a lot of pressure now. There's a lot of people that are kind of getting upset. They're kind of getting angry. They're saying, "Where's my power upgrade?" So hopefully things will move along quickly, but I cannot give a time frame on that. In terms of the villa with the 500 kVA, I think that's something we can move on in the next, I'm going to say 60 days. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Rooks lease, because I leased land to get a power grid on it. I'm going to let that lapse because I'm good friends with the landowner. I'm pretty sure he's not going to force me to rent it out another year, especially with no power on it. And then I'm going to take that money that I would use to renew that lease, and I'm going to slide it over into this villa that has 500 kVA. So we're probably looking at, I'm going to say end of January, maybe mid-February, before we get all that settled out. But that's what's going on in the power front, and I believe that was an AMA question. So let me just kind of repeat here. Any news about putting monopoly miners back online? What's possible scenarios, and what is the time frame? Time frame for the villa, I'm thinking a month and a half. And when do we think the miners can be sold to close out this phase? Yeah, the peak of the market is probably going to happen, at least from what I'm predicting. Let's go ahead here and let's take a long view look. I'm seeing August of 2025 is what I'm seeing. So just to describe to you guys what I've got going on here, I have three parabolics. So this was the 2017 bull run parabolic, and this one was the most recent parabolic that we had. We can see was very lackluster because of COVID. And then this in the middle is the average between the two. And as you can see, we're right on course to be on the average between the two, reach an all-time high of somewhere around 600K. Again, it's not going to stay there for a month. It might happen for 1 hour because it's a parabolic, So it might jump from, 600K to 700K in 1 hour in one day, and then it's done. And then the correction comes. So when do we need to be looking at selling machines? Yeah, I would say probably June or July would be a good time to start looking at that. But as we get closer, I'll let you guys know. As always, I'll keep you informed. Okay, here's another question. When is the community manager going to engage the Discord forum, Tammy? Starting to get a little ridiculous how she is never on Discord, and there have been some real concerns that she could communicate with Ethan and get back to the Monopoly community about it. So it would be great if she could start engaging with Discord. Tammy, you need to put a focus on going to the free parking on Discord. I've given you the access that you need to it. So that's something that you need to put your energy into and get on top of it. Let's see, Discord skip to Google Meets. Okay, you log into the Google. It's just some troubleshooting there that's going on. So yeah, hopefully Tammy's got lots of updates because there are lots of things that Tammy is doing. Tammy every day is pestering the Bitmain repair center to get miners repaired and to get them released and to get them back on the shelves. We had some miners today that were released to us that were supposedly repaired, and they are totally not repaired, which is a common thing that Bitmain has done in the past. And what I'm thinking about doing, guys, is just starting my own repair here in the UAE because, especially in the bull markets, Bitmain's going to get a ton of like old junky miners to fix. They're going to be backlogged. They're going to stop fixing miners and just say it's done just to get it off their books. And I don't want to be a part of that. So if you guys think that would be a good idea, let me know. It's going to take a little bit of seed capital to get it going. Obviously, I'm going to have to buy, soldering stations and, chips and parts and diagnostic boards and things like that. But if you guys are up for it, we'll see what we can do to have Monopoly kind of participate in that again. And it may be a situation where when we close on this 500 kVA villa, that we just do a refresh then and get the hydro going and all that other cool stuff. But yeah, that's the good opening news that I have for you guys. Hopefully, you guys can understand what I'm talking about. That you know when companies get absorbed, that's when we see processes and things like that freeze or slow down or stop. And so I'm hoping that the cause of the power upgrades not happening was because of this acquisition and not because of the agricultural department. In other news about the agricultural department, this is also very interesting. Since this acquisition has happened, and the new power contracts are being issued at a new rate, which is 6 fills instead of 4.5. I haven't heard any news about the agricultural department coming around and giving any fines. So maybe this higher rate is a way that things can continue to operate without having fines and without having anybody like harass us or kind of bother operations. So I'm really hopeful and optimistic that this is the direction it was going. I kind of initially said that this would probably be the solution, is that they would give a special rate for crypto mining. It looks to me that might be actually what is happening, and we'll stay on top of it. We'll keep you guys in the loop of what's going on there. But yeah, I'm hopefully optimistic that 2025 will be a stellar year. One of the great things about having a very low power cost is, not only can you mine really well in the bull runs, but the bear markets, when everybody else is turning off and shutting down, you can still keep mining. And that's really the name of the game to be successful in this industry, is that you have to be able to continue to mine even when the markets are down, even when everybody else is unplugging. That's when you reap the greatest rewards. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out. That's exciting news for me. Um,
Ethan, can I ask a quick question? So
yes.
could you walk us through like what the steps would be? So you say about a month and a half, maybe this might all come to fruition. Can you walk us through so a month and a half passes, we're greenlit. What are the steps? What happens after
Okay,
that?
so Ahmed, can you tell us where is the location of the villa that Jaja found? Ahmed
Yeah, it's in Dera,
and
Dera and
Dira.
Al Tawar.
Okay, and Dira is a part of Dubai, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Dira is kind of a neighborhood of Dubai. And what would happen is first I have to go to the villa and inspect the power room and make sure that it's turnkey, meaning that we can just pull wires out of it and start powering things up. Provided that that doesn't need to be updated or upgraded and it is turnkey and it's ready to go, things will move very quickly. Youssef and myself will work on closing the lease. Obviously, he'll work as my proxy and everything will be done in his name. The lease will be in his name and the power will be in his name. And as soon as that's completed and the power is turned on in his name, then we will begin the work of running the power from the power room to whatever we decide to do. So if we decide to go with our air-cooled miners, we can build an air-cooled shed. I'm sure you guys have all seen the videos. I build those little, foam metal sheds or whatever. We can build those pretty rapidly. It usually takes about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. We've got the shells, we've got spare PDUs, we've got all the other stuff that we need to operate. We just need to build that structure, and that would be the longest delay.
So I think a couple of us on Discord has chatted about this a little bit, but I don't think it's representative of all the monopoly investors. So I'm just gonna put out, attentively a question. So
Okay.
so I'm wondering if it might be good to just close out the monopolies, I don't know, cycle or phase, just to show that, hey, this is a proven investment. It followed the white paper. There were some hiccups on the way, but we started it. We mined, payouts were given, and we closed it out, and we sold the miners, and those proceeds were given back to the NFT investors and holders. And I feel like if we can,
I'm with you on that,
if we
and
start another phase,
I think
that
that
we can really
is
press that as an advertising point.
I think that is the group consensus. Let's go back to eBay again and see if I can get some sort of pricing on what's miner in 50. Yeah, it's so weird. I think like in the bear market, they allow you to sell miners, but for some reason in the bull market, like they ban it. Like anybody who tries to list or sell a what's miner or let's see what S19, see S19 pulls up. So we got hash boards. No, those are S9s. It's an S21. Because I remember like a few AMAs ago, I did a search for M50 and there were like 5 or 6 of them. And now like nobody is selling what's miner M50. Like I can't find any of them for sale. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to just get a gauge for what the retail, because I do things in bulk and wholesale, so I know what the wholesale cost is per terahash. Let's just do, yeah, let's see if anybody's selling them. Okay, what's miner is selling them new for, looks like 1,700 each. Okay, okay, here we go. We got some folks selling them on Desert Cart, which would actually be pretty good because that's local in Dubai. Let's see now. Is this a new one? Okay, that's a new one.
Well, I mean, considering we each paid 500 each per NFT, it's not a bad payout.
No, no. I mean, especially with the value of Bitcoin going up. Let's see. Okay, so this is a new one. Trying to see if I can.
My only question would be, when do you think is the best time to sell?
We're close. We're probably about 6 months away. But I won't know that until we get there. When we get there, I'll tell you guys we're here.
And will we be able to get to get more and start mining again, kind of thing, you know?
Well, again, it's about the power cost, right? So, as long as your power cost is good, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so it's got a 30 days, so selection variations not available. What?
Discussion on the Discord. My sense is that people want the miners turned on as soon as possible, and even if it's just a little bit of profit, that's better than zero. So they would love to receive something, and then when the ideal market price hits, then I think the community is willing to sell and close out the phase. And call it a big win, and then we start another phase, and there's another group of investors for the next one. I think that's kind of what my sense is, but the Discord has been, to be honest, a little bit spotty. I think some people log in all at once, and there's a big discussion, and then it kind of dies down a little bit, and then there's another big discussion later. So people do check in. It's just that I don't think people regularly engage Discord. So we would have to let people know ahead of time, some of the things that are coming up. But I do think the AMA recordings are very popular. People seem to definitely listen to the recordings, post our sessions. So
Yeah, so right now, just based off of this website, for a used one, it's going for $4.15 per terahash, which, let's go here to Monopoly, let's go to payouts. Let's take a look here, go all the way to the end. And we will adjust this. Yeah, because I had $7 right now. So let's take this $4.15. 4.15, there we go. So if we liquidated currently in the current market, that would give an 81% ROI based off of today's current BTC price. And I agree with you, Crypto Antiquity, that if we can get these running, even if it's just for 60 days, to get you guys more BTC, that is ideal. But yeah, I mean we're at least 5 to 6 months away from liquidation, and I expect the price to go from $4.15 to probably a 10x. But somebody's told me, let's say it just goes to $20 a terahash, because somebody's told me that there's going to be an oversupply of miners. Like COVID caused a shortage, and that's why the price per terahash went crazy. And somebody's been making a pretty strong case that there's going to be an oversupply. So let's assume that there's an oversupply and it goes to $20 a terahash. At today's current BTC price, that would be 132%. So about 33%, we'll just round up and make it 33% over your initial investment, which still isn't bad. Isn't bad at all.
that sounds great. I'm pretty happy with that if we can get that. Or
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great if we got the ideal, but even that would be.
Me too.
Yeah, well, you've got to factor in the price of Bitcoin is going to be up higher. And if we mine, let's say, 4 additional months of Bitcoin, that would be 4 additional months of income. So it would be even higher than that. But yeah, so if the end game is to close out a little bit early so we can refresh, then we need to really seriously be thinking about hydro, because hydro is the way to go over here. I mean, that's just it's the best way. We have so many issues with the air, and then we have to pay for all the water. I know Roop, when he got his first water bill, he had sticker shock with it. Because the thing is it's not like you're just turning on a bathroom faucet. It's like you're turning on every faucet in your house and you're letting it run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's the quantities of water we deal with on the cooling curtain to cool things. And it comes to $1,000, $1,800 water bill. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but it's only in the summer months. So now the water is completely turned off on Roop's site, and I just have to pay the $40 a month connect fee. So isn't that stupid, guys? Like, I've got a house in the United States that I haven't been to in like 2 years, and it doesn't have electricity and it doesn't have water, but I have to pay these like connect fees just to make sure it's still connected. Like, I still have to pay like $40 a month for each, just to make sure it's connected. It's ridiculous.
It's the States. What do you expect?
Yeah. I'm thinking, well, there's two things I can do with the house. I can either just liquidate it and then I can flip that capital into something that would probably 10x easily, especially if I bought like some crypto right now. I know some things are going to just go off the chain. I don't know if I've talked to you guys about Algorand before. Um, I had a perfect opportunity to buy in when it was 12 cents and it went all the way up to 60 cents. It did a bit of a correction. I'm hoping it'll continue to do a correction because I want to get in around 20 cents. But if that thing goes anywhere near where it went, last time it went to $3, that's an easy 10x, You buy in at 20 cents when it hits $2, you've 10x. And it's just common sense to me that it's going to happen. And we still haven't even got into the insanity of Luna Classic yet and what all that's going to do. And yeah, so there's some potential gold mines that are out there that I'm excited to be a part of. But yeah, guys, don't think I've forgotten about you. I haven't forgotten about you. It's just you're now in a list of people that are hurting to have power to get plugged in, right? And I'm just doing everything I can to secure that. Like literally, we're going to meetings every single day. Um, trying to find the power, trying to find. We found plug-in ready power, but people want ridiculous amounts of money. Like we found 3.3 megawatts of plug-in power, like ready to go, but they wanted $1 million up front. And the problem is, okay, what if I pay them $1 million and then they get kicked out and we get kicked out a week later? Where do I get my $1 million? What happens? Like I'm screwed. And so we can't get into situations like that. And that's why Youssef has been so instrumental because, he understands the laws really well. And he was like, well, he went into the negotiation table with me and basically said, this is the most ridiculous contract I've ever seen. There's no way we're going to pay that much up front. We'll pay for what we get as we use it, and that is how things are done. And if you don't like it, then but somebody crazy will probably pay it. Like, crazy things happen in these markets. I'm just hopeful that this acquisition, the storm is over. The acquisition is finished. They're doing new power contracts. They changed the rate. Like I'm just hoping that this was the holdup for everything, and now we can get the train rolling again out of the station. And if that's the case, then 2025 and beyond will be very good. It won't be good for some people. I've actually had one client that they're completely backing out. They want a complete refund. Obviously, once I've spent money on things like, I paid 3 years worth of rent in advance, I paid for a power upgrade that's frozen in the system. I can't get that money back, but they want it all back. Um, so yeah, it's not that I've forgotten about you guys. It's just you guys are in a long list of other problems that I'm all trying to solve, and it's the same problem, right? The problem is power. And Ahmad has been focused on getting big power. And I told Ahmad, I said, any power. If we're gonna get 100 kVA here and 100 kVA there, I can start getting monopoly, pieced back together. Yeah, yeah, it's been a tough, I'm gonna say 90 days. This last 90 days has been really hard. Um, just desperately trying to get power. I had a client come over that had somebody babysit me. So they had their liaison, like basically follow me around every day, go to every meeting, make sure that I'm doing everything correctly. He turned up, snake eyes, the same as me. So, it's like I'm not lying here. It's not like I'm just, making this up and I'm just being lazy and not doing anything, and just telling people like, oh, well, there's nothing, I'm busting my ass here, busting my ass night and day. And, I didn't mind having, this guy shadow me because he needs to learn the lay of the land and what I'm up against. And there's two main things that you got to learn here, right? One is what people say, and the other is what the actual truth is. And to put that in perspective, Ahmad and I, we went on the Shakeland site, right? And we found like 3 or 4 megawatts, right? And Ahmad, he starts talking to the local guys that are working, and taking care of like the miners and stuff. And he asked the local guys about, like these guys that are showing us. And the local guys are like, we don't know who those guys are. We've never seen those guys. They don't own any of these mining operations or anything, right? And so you get these people coming in and they're just talk. Yeah, 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 we can do this. Yeah, yeah, we can do that. And you go onto this site, and sure enough, the power's there. We went to 2 different sites. Ahmad, tune in, man. It's your time to talk. Tell them what the local worker said to you.
Yes, sir. The local worker, they said we don't know that guys, and they are just three partner from Kuwait, one from Pakistan,
No, no,
and
no, the Indian guys, not even those guys. The Indian guys, remember? And then
the
they got
Indian.
mad at
Yeah, the
you
Indian. They are
because you
they
were
are just
talking to the local guy, and they were like, "Don't talk to the local guy." And the local
yeah,
guy's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"I can talk to whoever I want to." Just tell that story.
They are just brokers. The worker don't know them, but they're just broker, and they just find someone want to sell that farm, and they're just broker.
Well, yeah, and who was the true owner? It was like some European or German guy, right?
Yeah, yeah. The worker say from Germany.
Okay. So that's what I'm talking about, guys, is like there's a lot of this bullshit going on in here. And without Ahmed, if I was just a foreigner coming in, I'd be like, okay, this looks great, da, da, da. But Ahmed's able to find the truth. And now that we know who owns the land, we know like who is doing business on the land. It's a guy from Germany. Ahmed can kind of dig in deeper and figure out who this guy is. And Ahmed, you're still chasing after that, right? You said you could maybe pay him some dirhams and he'll introduce us to the owner.
Yes, I'm still contact with him and still
Yeah.
getting more information.
Yeah, so guys, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not easy here. Like you'll come here and you'll talk to people and they'll say they're easy, but they're all middlemen and they're all talkers and none of them are doers and none of them are the actual owners and none of them are the real thing. And thank goodness there's me, there's Ahmad. We go onto these sites, we talk to the people on the ground and we learn the real story and we know what's really happening. Because if not, that's how people get scammed over here. All right, Tammy, what do you have to say for yourself for not being part of the community and organizing things and kind of keeping the flow?
With the meetings that we've been going through to and the Bitmain conference that we had, and then
No, you're
following
supposed
up
to be going
about,
on a Discord and giving updates and letting people know what's going on and kind of stirring the pot.
yeah, that's been something that I forgot about. I have
Okay, well, don't forget
definitely
about
been
it.
focusing on
I know,
about
calling
the,
Bitmain every day, getting the miners and all that. I know,
yeah,
but you need to put
it's,
this on your list and take care of this because this is part of your responsibility. Okay.
yes.
Okay. All right.
But
And
I really honestly think doing in-house repairs is better than
it's gonna
taking
be
it to
so
the
much.
repair center.
If you want something done right, guys, you got to do it yourself. I mean, and nobody does mining shit better than me. I mean,
Because not trying to be rude or anything, it's a little bit ridiculous for them to keep minors almost 2 months.
yeah, I know. I know. It's
I
beyond
I I,
ridiculous.
I agree. If you want anything done, let alone properly, you do it yourself. It's cheaper too.
And I
Like,
always make sure things are done the right way. Like you can see how pristine and clean my new office is. I will fill in stuff in the back eventually, but
And your new haircut.
yeah, I cut my own hair, yeah, and I shave my own face. But I let it grow scruffy over the weekend, so yeah, hopefully you guys can still recognize me. When I go to conferences and I don't have the beard, people will just walk past me. Like people I've known for years, they just walk right past me. They don't even recognize me. Um, but that's not the most important thing right now. The most important thing that I'm working on is power, 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 power. Not just for you guys, but for the long queue of other people who have also been waiting. People have been waiting for bigger power. I've told Ahmad, I've given him the green light. Like, even if it's small power, let's see what we can do with it, what we can, do to make it work. You guys don't really need much power. You need 200, 250 kVA at most. So 500 kVA would be perfect for us to grow into and maybe like double the size in hydro or something like that. Um, but again, I will keep you guys informed. And one last thing before I leave here today is Crypto Antiquity. You've been so awesome at summarizing all of the AMA videos and kind of putting together the votes. Can you shadow or shepherd Tammy to help kind of get to that level to where she can start doing those things and put a vote for moving the AMA to a weekend? I think maybe a Sunday would be a good day for me because it's kind of, I've got Friday and Saturday to kind of like just decompress and take a breath. I was under a lot of stress yesterday, guys, trying to build this new computer, and I'll send you pictures and videos when it's all done. Right now, it's just spaghetti wires and everything everywhere, so I could just get it up and running. But um, it'll be a nice machine, and it's much more reliable than my laptop. My laptop had issues with the screen going out and crazy things like that. So things have been very stable. And also, Ahmad was awesome to help me build the new computer. Thank you so much for your help, Ahmad. And Ahmad can even say everything worked from the time I powered it up. Like I plugged it all in and everything worked. There was no bad RAM. The CPU didn't have any issues. The GPU didn't have any issues. Everything is on fire. So I'm very happy with that. And yeah, let's see if we can push it to like a Sunday, right, guys? Because it seems like everybody's working and everybody's
I'd
eating.
be
So
fine with Sunday.
yeah, let's find
Maybe, or maybe you can put it up as a Saturday or Sunday, or Saturday too hard.
I'd really like my Saturdays off, to be honest,
Okay.
guys.
Okay. So, well, I think Sunday mornings there's a lot of things going on. Maybe Sunday afternoon, but then I don't know what time it is on your side when you.
Well, right
Really
now it is 9:38 p.m.
Okay.
and yeah, I like to be, watching a movie with my sister and kind of enjoying life right now. That's
Okay.
that's the only break I get out of the entire week is Saturday evenings movie nights. So
I mean, we can definitely put it up for a poll. I think if more people can attend, the better. I personally might have some trouble with the Sunday move, but why don't we? But I can definitely help Tammy put up a poll, and we can ask people. I think a lot of people, to be honest, last informal poll we did, they all said that they listen to the recordings or watch the summary posts anyway. They don't really. So
okay,
that's
there,
their connection. So there's a few of us who actually drop in on the AMA in person.
well, yeah,
And
let's focus on the few and not the many then.
I'd
'Cause
I'd be fine with Sunday, and I just like to say hi. How the hell are you, anyways?
good. All right, and yeah, so let's see you guys, maybe talk amongst yourselves with Tammy, and we'll see if we can coordinate Sunday as a better time. And I'll go through the Discord and change all the meetings and everything. But again, guys, I'm hoping that this acquisition is good news, not just for you guys, but for me and my business in general, because it's been suffering, as you can imagine. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys on the next AMA.
could you give a quick, I mean, as you know, big picture of Bitcoin for 2025? I always find your input helpful.
Big picture,
Nothing.
I already went over it earlier, but
Okay.
I'll just do a real quick recap here.
Okay.
We
I
have
wasn't
three.
able to hear anything, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was helping Cameron. So if you
Sure.
did do it, I probably was just kind of focusing on the chat with Cameron. But
No worries. I will recap it and then we will say goodbye and have a great weekend. We have three parabolics here. This is the 2017 parabolic here, this first one. And then this last one is the COVID-19 parabolic, which was very lackluster, obviously because of COVID-19. And then we have the average in between these two parabolics, which I've drawn. And as you can see, we are right on course with the average. And according to the average, it should end around August of 2025 and be in the somewhere in the 700K region for one Bitcoin.
wow, that's a lot higher than I thought it could get.
Well, as I explained, it's going to reach that 700K, but it's going to do it for maybe an hour. So it might go
Okay.
from 600 to 700K in one day in just one furious frenzy. And then you need to get the heck out because it'll drop like a stone.
Got it.
All right. But yeah, I always like to kind of give my technical analysis of things. We have created a strong resistance line. So, kind of the most important thing to understand is defining your resistance on the way up so you know kind of where it's going to bounce when it comes down. Why is that important? So, we know it's going to drop like a stone and then it's going to hit that resistance, and that's going to be a buy zone. It's going to go back up and that's going to be a sell. And then it's going to go back down to another resistance, and that's going to be a buy zone. So it's very important to denote where these zones are on the way up, so you have a really good idea or a strategy of what to do on the way down. Because I have doubled my assets. So let's just say, at the top, I'll give an example. Let's say I've got 5 Bitcoin. On the way down, as it bounces, I've been able to turn that 5 Bitcoin. By the time it gets down to, the bottom, let's say, well, let me put it this way. I've got 5 Bitcoin. I sell 4 Bitcoin, I completely liquidate it, right? And so I keep that as just liquid capital. That's what I'm going to survive up the bear market. But I've got this 1 Bitcoin left, and I've been able to make it back into 5 Bitcoin by the time it gets back to the bottom of the bear market. So that's kind of why it's important to know these things and to kind of mark them off. Now, I've created a resistance here. This is the stock to flow. So this is what stock to flow predicts what the price will be at the time. And I predict that there will be a resistance there, but I believe it'll break through that resistance and we will have that extreme parabolic frenzy, and then it will come back down. Anyway, it's been great talking with all you guys. Thank you so much for showing up at the AMA. It makes things
Thanks,
much
Nathan.
more lively.
Thanks, Ethan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it
I'm
makes
glad I
things.
was able to get the voice working. It was just the browser. It doesn't like Brave browser.
Oh yeah. Well, Brave doesn't like it. I love Brave though. Brave is awesome. It's one of my favorite browsers, especially when I'm like getting torrents and things like that. Brave is my go-to. But with that, guys, I'm gonna sign off here, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.